Good evening. Um, I'm starting a new video called Tea with V. Tea? This is one of my favorite little coffee cups with Winnie the Pooh and Piglet too. And it says, time for a little something something. um, I decided I was going to start doing these videos. I actually thought about it a while ago, and after today's events, I decided it was time to get going on it. If any of you have watched any of my videos before, you know that I've been struggling with some health issues. And there's a lot of issues with health insurance in America as well as other countries, but after I was put on disability, I got to see firsthand, unfortunately, just how bad things really are, especially for our elderly and disabled. Today is one of my better days. I like to call it my remission, where I kind of feel a little bit better, but today's been so stressful. It's not even funny. It's been a long day, a very long day. I've been trying to help my dad on top of my own issues that have been going on, and I already went through this kind of with my mom when she was put in a nursing home, and it was a very difficult time, and it's turning out to be almost the same thing all over again, but even worse, because at this time there's a family member involved that's doing the exact opposite of what my dad wants, and they purposely took me out of the picture because the fact that I'm not there in New York, I'm in Texas. So I'm not there in New York to be able to do anything firsthand for my dad. The only things I can do is over the phone to try to get things done for him. And I've been trying like crazy. I need to turn a couple things off too. So basically what happened is, and I don't know if maybe any of you have had any experience with this. I'm sure somebody has. But because I'm in Texas, my dad is in New York. He was in his own apartment. He's doing fine. He was trying to put something away in his closet, and he stood on his bed to try to put something up on the shelf. He fell off the bed. Now, he got taken to the hospital. My phone number was written on a piece of paper on his refrigerator. Nobody called me. Nobody. Now, my Aunt Shirley, my dad's younger sister, a person I don't particularly care for, and there's numerous reasons, did not bother to call me. She tried to say she didn't have my number, but she has a key to my dad's apartment. Phone number was on his fridge. Her son finally got a hold of me, my cousin Philip, who I practically raised for a year. When she had me move in with them when I was like 14, and I took care of both of her children for like a whole year. I got up in the morning, got them breakfast, got them their lunches when they were home. I got them off to school on the bus and stuff. Got them off the bus, got them their snacks, did their homework with them, got them their dinner, I did the dishes, I cleaned up after them, I got them their baths. I was basically their mom. Well, she went to work, and then she would go out afterwards and go party. Yeah. So, and she meets a guy. So he said she's going to move to California, and that I had to find a place to live. So, yeah, so she was getting paid from, because I was a foster child, so she was getting paid from the system for me to be her built-in maid and nanny and everything else, mom to her children while she just did whatever she wanted. So that's part of my problem with her. I tried to move on from that until other things happened. I basically just didn't have contact with her anymore after that, until my grandmother passed away, and I went to the funeral, and I got to meet her husband. Ooh, such a nice guy. She was there. I'm in the basement, playing pool and stuff with my brother-in-law and stuff, and other people were down there, and I go to use the bathroom that was in the basement, and her husband pushes his way into the bathroom and traps me in there and tries to force himself on me and wouldn't let me out of the bathroom. Yeah. I told her about it. She called me a liar. Thanks, Shirley. Love you too. Your husband's a piece of crap. So anyways, now the thing is with my dad, after he got hurt, she didn't bother to get a hold of me. I did say a couple of things to her before that she didn't like, so I'm thinking that, excuse me, this might be part of the reason why she's doing this to my dad. As a way to get me back for what I had said. Possibly. I don't know. What other than the fact that she's just a witch. She's an evil witch. Yeah, so she didn't bother to get a hold of me. It was my cousin, Philip, that actually got a hold of me 3 weeks or so after the fact that he was in the hospital. So he went to the hospital. He had a broken leg and a messed up hip or whatever, and ended up in a cast. And then while he was in the hospital, he ended up having congestive heart failure. All this time, they didn't call me. All this time, even after the congestive heart failure. Then he goes to the nursing home, and that's when Philip finally got a hold of me. So, and after Philip got a hold of me, then all of a sudden Shirley's trying to be nicey and act like, oh my goodness, I did this for your dad, I did that for your dad, and blah blah blah. Yeah, okay, yeah. And so anyways, she took her time, like, get me any of the information or anything. She basically didn't want me to know. She didn't want me involved. I ended up finding out the information because I knew the location that he got stuck in, which she knew because of my mom being put in that nursing home and all the abuse that my mom endured there. That I would never, ever, ever want my dad to be put there. But that's where she chose to have my dad put. So, there's a problem, because she knew very well that I would not want my dad put there. I just got done dealing with my mom being there, and my mom just passed away in January of this year. So I found all the information. I made the phone calls. I got his room number. I got a hold of his social worker there and everything else, and then they were telling me, oh, well, you need to talk to Shirley, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, has my dad signed over any paperwork or something to her? Because I'm his daughter. So you guys need to be releasing the information to me so that I know what's going on. And the guy kept on telling me that I needed to talk to Shirley. That guy is fired now, by the way. So, yeah. Uh, the place is called Waterview Heights in Rochester, New York. Do not send anybody you care about there. It used to be called Shorewinds. So, yeah, they changed the name, but everything's still the same. And even possibly more of a mess than it was before. So, unfortunately, I made a bunch more phone calls. My dad, after I talked to my dad, and he said that he was there for rehabilitation, that he was hoping that he wanted to go home soon. He didn't like it there. And I said, I completely understand. I will make phone calls on your behalf. He told me some things that were going on that he didn't like. And that he was dropping weight like crazy, that the food was no good, that, I don't know. He was like giving me a list of different things that was going on. So I called the ombudsman in Rochester, New York to try to get some assistance, to try to get some help. And I spoke to somebody through the ombuds system, which is supposed to advocate for the patients. And she relayed the information over to another ombudsman, that gentleman that was supposed to go in to go see my dad. I talked to them a couple of times. The last time I spoke to him, he said he was going to be going in to see my dad again, but they never called me to let me know what's going on or give me an update or anything as far as what transpired or what was happening. The ombudsman gave me the first lady that I talked to gave me this information before the other guy got involved. He told me exactly what to say to the social worker over there. And after the other guy, because I told this to that Melvin guy, now I had to tell it to his person that's supposed to be in charge of all social workers over there, which her name is Kate. And this is the message that I gave him, because I wrote down exactly what the ombudsman told me to say. It says, I'm working with an ombudsman, and we need a care plan meeting, including my dad, the ombudsman, and me. I need the date and time of the meeting and a care plan for the discharge as per New York State law. So, supposedly those are supposed to be the magic words that are supposed to get them and their butt moving to actually do their job, to actually get the assessments done and things that are needed, and actually go over the care plan with me. They never called me to review a care plan whatsoever. They just started ignoring my phone calls. I talked to Kate again and got her on the phone finally again and told her, as well as I had told Melvin before, that I had spoke to visiting nurse service. I talked to another nurses there. I got the information regarding needing to have assessments done by New York State. They're called the NIA assessments. So while he's in the nursing home, these people from New York State are supposed to come into the nursing home and do 2 different assessments to assess my dad's abilities and disabilities, and so that they know exactly what he's going to need to be able to go home and receive care, long-term care at home. Because of the fact that he's on Medicare and Medicaid, he is able to receive these, but not without getting the assessments first. They ignored me. They ignored me. Okay, so the whole time, my Aunt Shirley, my dad's sister, was working behind my dad's back, behind my back, to force him to stay there. She didn't want him to go home. She wanted him to stay there. I also found out that she had taken an insurance policy out on my dad, and made herself the beneficiary. I'm like, okay. I told my dad about it, and he said, okay, that's news to me. He was supposed to make Joey the beneficiary, who is my little brother. And I'm like, okay, well, then that's who should be the beneficiary if that's what he wants. So, no, that's not what she did. And prior to this, when Shirley was supposed to be helping my dad out when he was living in his own apartment, she was supposed to help him with the bills and stuff because he has a problem with reading and writing and stuff. So she was supposed to be helping him write out checks and stuff to pay his bills. Well, there was a problem then, too, that my dad told me about, where there was money disappearing and, discrepancies with money. So he had her taken off for doing that for him. And Catholic Charities, they call it something else now, for them to handle the bill part of it. So there was that too. So there's all these different things going on, and then 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 the excuse was, well, Dad can't go home because he wasn't walking well enough or whatever. Well, they didn't even start. Okay, he had been there for over like 4 weeks or more by this point. And when I spoke to, because I just happened to call at the right time when the physical therapist was there, she said she just started working with him. She wasn't even there a couple of weeks ago. She had just started working with him. So they hadn't even had a chance to do any type of assessment yet or anything. And he had been there for over a month. And they just started bothering to work with him or to even get anybody in there because they're having problems with employees and things there. So there's that. Then the next thing, I'm trying to remember all the excuses they kept giving me. And then the next reason was he had too much stuff in his apartment, things that he had been collecting or whatever in his apartment, which is really weird because my dad he was always a neat freak. He was never a pack rat. So, I don't know. But they said there was too many things in the way that he wouldn't be able to be there safely. So my half-brother Joey came from Florida to New York and went there from what I was told by Joey and Shirley, who is obviously not to be trusted, was that they were going in there just to remove those items so that it would be safe for Dad to go home. Now, this is the same thing they told Dad. Dad asked to go with them because he wanted to choose. I mean, imagine, this is your stuff, your apartment, you're planning on going home, and someone else is going into your place, your home, to take things out of your home. You want to be there. So he said, well, I want to go with you guys so I can say which things go and which things stay. Shirley told my dad, no, you can't go. You can't go. You don't need to be there. I was mad about that. And I almost told her off that day, but I held back. And I talked to my brother a little bit, text message and stuff. And he was like, well, you haven't seen Dad, you don't know how bad he looks, and yada yada, he's lost all this weight. And I said, yeah, it's because they're feeding him food he can't eat. He doesn't want to eat. It's like they need to give him stuff that he actually